Welcome, everyone, to another fantastic episode of Chiefs Focus First and 10. You were here with JP and Caleb. What's up, my bro?
Doing good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing better, man. Finally got over that COVID shit, and well, for as much as I could say, I'm over it, and I feel a lot better than I did. That's something I don't wish on anyone. That was horrid, but today is a wonderful day. Um, Everything's been great. It's just going to be last weekend still hasn't left my mind. I've watched that game, bro, now 11 times. I've watched that game 11 times.
11 times?
11 times.
Woo, JP, I don't know how you watching that 11 times. You sure you're not watching the highlight 11 times?
No, well, let me put it this way. I watched all 22 6
Mhm.
times,
Mm-hmm.
and 5 times I watched the condensed version of the game with no commercials.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, you saw a
And
pretty good,
yeah,
good amount.
yeah, and I got to tell you, they were pretty much flawless. Um, Even without Tyron, I think with him it would have been a totally different game. But I'll take 2 touchdowns away that they had gotten easy touchdowns if he was in the middle back there in the
Oh,
end
for
zone.
sure. At
But
least one.
yeah, but to watch that offense, and Jeff Allen put something out, and I have to say he was right. Some of the tight ends, some of the football players in general, are the smartest people in the world, and he got flack from saying that. And I went after the guy that did because it kind of irritated me because he was saying, well, that's just idiotic and this, that, and the other. And I said, what's your college degree? And how high did you get in college? He didn't answer. I said, I'm asking because you're sitting here telling a college graduate that played the game of football that football players aren't smart. That's basically what you're saying. And he got into it a little bit with me, and I said, I just want to know your education level. And I said, I played a professional sport. I know it, and I was around that team for 15 years, up close, 14 years up close and personal. I said, so tell me how you think that just because they play football, they're not smart. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that to be some of the smartest people in the world. And I said, dude, there's people out there with MBAs and uh, Harvard grads and Columbia and everything else that may not be as smart as Travis Kelce. I said, just because he plays football doesn't mean he's not intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
I said, these guys go through a lot. I said, I can tell you now, you could take a big, strong, strapping Harvard graduate that couldn't go out there and do what he does and learn the plays that he
Oh
knows.
yeah. I mean, when you saw with the mic up, Kelsey basically ran. I don't even know how he ran like a fake out, but then cut it in, and he
Yeah,
did just enough to
yeah,
lead the cornerback outside, leave a gaping hole where he had easily caught the ball, ran 5 more yards, and was down. Timeout, 3 seconds left in field goal range. I mean, that just kind of shows you he studied and tried to figure out what they were doing. That's
yeah,
phenomenal when you're looking
yeah,
at the end of the day, because not
absolutely.
many people see that. Most people think, okay, I'm going to run deep. But Kelsey saw what they were doing. He's like, okay, if you're going to do this, and this is how weak it's going to be, this is how I'm going to get you.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And he Jeff, he was right because look, these guys not only, a lot of guys they believe that they get through college because of their athleticism or the fact that they are a star athlete. Um, and at some point during, you know, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, that was the case. Some guys didn't have to study. They just got A's because they were a star athlete at certain schools. These guys have learned that football doesn't necessarily last very long and you have to have an out. And if you don't make millions and you get hurt in your first year or second year or fifth year, you may not make the money that you want to have to provide for your family and and extended families for the rest of your life if that's what you want to do. They have learned this. There was a guy that played for the Chiefs years ago by the name of Joe Phillips. I know him very well. Him and his wife are both lawyers, but he played for the Chiefs.
hmm,
You know, it's it's something that you have to realize that, and that's another thing I told this guy. I said, think about it like this: I said, this guy went to college. He got a degree, may have gotten two. I said, there's doctors in the NFL. There's lawyers in the NFL. There's accountants that are in the NFL. I said, but they all play the game of football. I said, let's see who's smarter. I said, a guy goes out, he gets into the combine, he becomes an athlete, a pro NFL football player, and he's got a degree. Okay, his degree may pay him six figures, but he took the opportunity to make millions over maybe a 2 to 5 year period. If he gets lucky, lasts a lot longer, but that's the average. And then he has that money, and then he has something to fall back on because not only of his platform, but also the fact that he's educated. So he can go out and make six figures after he leaves the game of football if he so chooses. Who's smarter? The guy that went to college and didn't go and play in the NFL and make six figures, or the guy that went to the NFL, got his degree, made millions, and then got out and has something to fall back on? I would say that's the smarter individual. And he said, well, thanks for making me look really stupid on Twitter. I said, you did that on your own by arguing with Jeff Allen. I said, you argue with the man that's right. And I said, if you didn't like it, pass by. There's no reason to make a snide comment and call him stupid or idiotic. I said, because he's far from that. He's a business owner. I said,
Does
so
Kelsey know what he's doing? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Kelsey's come a long way, and I think seeing him, he's going to be having some things pretty soon that he already more than what he has. I mean, I'm pretty sure he has some stuff lined up. He's going to have some more.
Guarantee it, dude. He's going to get, he's a very smart individual, and he's going to be paid long after he's out of football. He'll be paid for a lot of other things.
He'll probably be an entertainer. That's most likely
He's,
will happen. He will be probably movies. He'll do something in movies, or he'll do football or something along those lines.
Yeah,
entertainment, because he's just that good and personable with the people. So
exactly. I mean, he's got the best personality. He's very well spoken, very intelligent, and he's funny as hell. Mm-hmm. So you combine those three things, he can do anything he wants to and be great at it. So it's just one of those things that when people just they get so argumentative. Oh, by the way. So the troll last week that said that they hated Mahomes and Mahomes, the family. That's the one that's got the picture of the 13-year-old Asian girl up on his profile pic. After that win, I sent back to him and I said, "How you feeling, Jerry?" And I said, "By the way," I said, "I see you still didn't take down that 13-year-old Asian girl off your profile pic." I said, that kind of screams pedophile. And he just put up 3 question marks, like he didn't know what I was talking about, because everybody hammered him on that same picture. Well, and some guy sent me a message, said he was a 30-year-old single guy that lives at home that basically just dreams about young Asian girls.
That's if that's what he wants to do, that's his life.
It's on him. But weirdly enough, there wasn't a whole lot of trolling. And most of the people that trolled us blocked us immediately after the win.
I mean, you probably got to see that. I didn't get to see that. But you probably found that.
I did. I found it. I looked hard for it. And all I was going to say was good game.
I know, JP, you were not going to say good game. It would be a good game, and then you would have said something sly remark. JP, I know you too well. The fans know you too. The podcast know you too well. You would say good game. You would say something sly. And then
it would have been underhanded, but nice. I mean, but
you said good game. You tried. That's what you would have been.
I would have said you tried really hard. I mean, it was a good try.
But just 13 seconds too late.
Yeah. By the way, that was another thing that some of the haters of the Chiefs with Nick Wright, and I got to bring up Nick Wright because I absolutely love that dude. He lost his mind on his show, just like he did on Twitter. And he made everybody on that panel look stupid.
He did.
And one of the guys said, I have to say, I would have never dreamed that 13 seconds would have allowed. He said, I've seen Josh Allen with 42 seconds or 52 seconds. I've seen Aaron Rodgers was 42 seconds and 3 timeouts. I've never seen anyone with 13 seconds be able to move down the field, get a field goal, and then come in and do what he did as quickly as he did. And Nick Wright said, yeah.
3 plays, 10 seconds, got down the field, like gained 54, was it
47 yards.
about 40? So yeah, 40
Yeah.
40-ish yards. Yeah.
Yeah. So Nick Wright said, I tried to tell you it's Patrick flipping Mahomes. He's the best that's ever played this game. And this guy, he kind of smirked a little bit, but then he let it go. He couldn't take it. And he finally just said it. He goes, that I don't know if there's another player that could have ever done that. And I don't know if there's another team that could have ever done that.
Oh no, because everyone else be like, oh man,
Yeah.
we lost. But the team was calm still. They weren't worried. They kept pushing through.
No. So it was really great to see Nick, because he was so elated. He is one of my favorite Chiefs fans. I mean, he's just so phenomenally. He's just in love with his team, and he loves Mahomes.
Well, it'd be awesome if we get him on the show. If the Chiefs win next week, and if the Chiefs win the game on Sunday, it'd be awesome if we get him on during the next week or two.
Well, we're working on that, so
that'd be awesome if we could.
Yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be. It was just great to see the people backtrack their words, and one person, I believe, picked the Bengals to win. By a slight margin. I think they must just be a Bengals fan, but I don't know what the margin is right now. I don't know what the over under is. I haven't looked, because to me, honestly, I don't think it matters. I don't know about you, but I don't see them losing. They're in too much of momentum. I do know that they are 98.2% favorites to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I don't know the margins. I don't know anything about it. All I know is that Joe Burrow's got to come into our house without his referee and play a legitimate game with a referee crew that doesn't call penalties.
That lets you actually play.
That actually let you play. Now he will call offensive pass interference if it's there. And he will call.
Well, then that's what we need right there, because that's all Jamar Chase did the first game. Push off. I mean, like, my goodness, there's a limit to what can happen. He just really abused it.
He did.
But I mean, he didn't get called, so I mean, it's kind of like, just keep doing you, man. I mean, that's kind of what we saw there.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get away with it, I guess, then hey, get away with it. It is what it is. But I think he's going to have he's got a wake up call coming this week. So.
Well, he did. Remember what he said about NFL? He said the NFL stadiums aren't allowed as college. Yeah, they got more people, but you're coming to Arrowhead, man. You're coming to Arrowhead on Sunday, buddy. So good luck with this.
Yeah.
Good luck.
They had interviews. There's interviews out there from John Elway all the way, and I was there at that game, but all the way up to, like, LaDainian Tomlinson and all these guys that said that that's the hardest stadium they've ever played in.
Mm-hmm.
Outdoor stadium to be that loud is unheard of.
Well, it's basically a dome without a dome. That's kind of what we're looking at.
Yeah, and it's all, perfect design by Lamar Hunt. But it's just great to see that everybody is realizing that this is no joke of a team.
That's true.
And we had our issues, and that got resolved, and now we are who we've been. Man, 4 straight AFC championship games, and
4 straight.
Potentially,
no other coach has done that besides Andy. He did that 4 with the Eagles and 4 with the Chiefs.
Yep.
It's well,
there's never been 4 straight hosted AFC championship games ever.
Oh wow! Well, that's another record in the Mahomes era. Another record by Mahomes and Andy and the team.
Yeah, that's the first time it's ever happened. I think Brady had 2 straight. There was records that Mahomes broke in that game that no one else has even come close to.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you got, man?
Oh, what do I got? Well, hey, man, we're going to a big game. As I'm telling all the fans, I say this every single week, but it still reigns true. This is going to be a tough game. It might be a little closer than what you expect, but it's going to be a tough game. But the Chiefs can go ahead and do what they can do in order to continue to push through. From what we've seen in the past, there have been multiple times where we've seen the Chiefs struggle. but I think the Chiefs can step up and win this game. Is it going to be hard? Yes, but they have to execute on every single phase. Last game, the main issue we saw there was the special teams. The special teams killed us in the beginning. We had Bucker miss some field goals. He missed a field goal. He missed a PAT. The kicking game, when it came to the punts, wasn't the best. And we had guys not downing the ball. We had many different issues that were happening. So in order for them to continue, they have to execute every single possession, because if they don't execute, then they can count this game goodbye. The Bengals are a good team. Your team's gonna have to continue to battle game week in and they're gonna have to battle every single play, every single quarter, in the trenches, out of the trenches. I mean, it's gonna take a team effort to beat them. One thing I know we have is advantage on our side is Arrowhead, the crowd. Joe Burrow said, and like I just said a little bit ago, he stated that, and I quote, basically, the college stadiums are louder. Do they have more people? Yes. But when you look at it at the end of the day, he has not been to Arrowhead. He's in for a rude awakening if he thinks it's going to be some little soft game. It's not going to be like that. The crowd is going to be loud. The crowd is going to be very, very, very loud. We've been to Arrowhead. As JP said earlier, we've seen all these different instances where we see, excuse me, you see the former Broncos quarterback. I forgot his name, JP. What's his name?
John Elway?
John Elway. Yeah, John Elway. Whenever he told the crowd to be quiet, we've seen him rattle quarterbacks like Derek Carr, Justin Herbert. I mean, the list goes on and on. Just like the song, the end, the beat goes on and on. I mean, if you really look at it, literally, the list goes on and on when you have quarterbacks coming here. Tom Brady on a Monday night game in 2014 got blown out, and the crowd literally got him. I mean, so it just shows you anything can happen. And lastly, if we can have our defender, King, Tyrann Mathieu, Landlord to come back, it will make everything better for our defense at the end of the day. And I'm expecting them to step up.
Yeah.
I'm expecting them to step up, because if they can do that, they will win this game. It's going to be tough, yes, but they have all the tools necessary. They have to show up, show out, practice every single day this week, like with the intensity and passion, and be ready to go.
I agree. Tyrann Mathieu is definitely going to play. We got to the point where, we had talked about it after the game, because I found out during the game that he was okay. Other than he did get a concussion. But they said that he would be ready for, to play, and that's what we put out on the show, and Andy reiterated that as well. So if Fenton's 100%, which what I was told today, he looked really good in practice. Tyrann looked really good. Everybody looked good. Everyone practiced today. Darrell Williams practiced.
He had a full participation on Wednesday, and then Thursday, which was today, he had a limited participation. So do you think that's kind of concerning? Because I know that toe injury's been bothering him.
I think they just rested him.
Okay.
He may have been feeling a little bit, but I think they more rested him than anything. They want him to be, in case, they want him to be prepared and ready. But it sounds like he's going to play as well. They're not deactivating anyone as of now, as far as our running backs are concerned. And with the emergence of McKinnon and the way he's played, and then, of course, CEH played lights out last week, which, look, I have not been critical to a degree. I mean, I've been somewhat critical to a degree of hit on him, but I've never counted him out. I just feel like we have a better chance with Darrell Williams and McKinnon as a combo 1-2 punch. But when you're doing it as a running back by committee situation, really doesn't matter. Last week, that's exactly what they did. They, without Darrell in there, they switched off between McKinnon and CEH,
CEH looked pretty good, not gonna lie.
6.8 yards a carry. That's not bad. It's not bad at all, actually. So I think that was his highest of his career, if I'm not mistaken. And now, of course, that was on somewhat limited snaps compared to his normal role, I should say. But he looked really good, and McKinnon always looks good. Dude, I almost I understand why everybody is so hyped about the game. I do. I have a feeling that this isn't good. This is kind of a revenge game for us, especially with what went on in week 17. And not just simply because of the fact that, Chase was allowed to push off as much as he was, but the fact of the calls and the way things went. We should have won that game by 2 touchdowns minimum, but they were handed 2 touchdowns. And now they don't have that luxury to have that person in their corner. So to me, I think that's, says it all. And they know that now. They know they don't have that extra oomph, that extra guy, that extra push, that extra, hand in the cookie jar type of situation. So he got a little taste of what Brady's always been able to get. And Brady got a little taste of what nobody's been able to get in that, he got called for, what was it? Unsportsmanlike conduct the first time.
Yeah, I didn't thought I would ever see that.
No.
But you can't get in the official's face. You can't. You know that's going to be a problem if you do that.
Well, he's done it so many times before, and he's gotten away with it. And this time he just didn't. And I thought it was phenomenal. And it looks like what I heard is true. It looks like he is. I have a weird feeling he's going to retire. He made a comment that his wife's tired of seeing him get hit, and his wife needs him to be the husband that she wants him to be. His kids need to have him be the father that they want him to be. And it's not about what he wants anymore. It's about what they want.
Well, we'll see what happens if he actually does it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be kind of shocked. I mean, I'm not scared of Tom Brady. I still think if the Chiefs can still beat them if we got another shot at them going into like the future, I will not be scared. But I mean, as you see, he's a good quarterback. I mean, he's done his stuff. The Spygate, the Flake, all that stuff shrouded in mystery there. But I gotta give him his props. But I still don't think he's the best quarterback in the league. I think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. Yeah. So I mean, that's just my opinion, and maybe people consider me a homer, but that's what I truly believe.
Well,
but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean,
everybody's believing that now.
Yeah.
So it's become a point now to where they don't even look at Rodgers. The phenomenal year that he had. They're not looking at him as the quote unquote top quarterback in the league anymore. And it's because of his downfalls, if you will, in the, in playoffs. So if you're gonna collapse, I guess, in a playoff game, and that's happened 3 years straight now that he's collapsed, if I'm not mistaken.
Who has?
Rodgers.
Yeah, he's collapsed. Yeah, about 3 straight years. Yep.
Yeah.
Just couldn't get anything done.
You just can't get it done, and he has the opportunities. I mean, it's not like he didn't have the opportunities to do something in that game, but he looked very flat. And I think Rodgers has been one of the most prolific quarterbacks to ever play the game.
But Mahomes is better.
He's
a lot better.
And I'd say that if he played for any team, bro.
First.
Yeah. I'd say that if he played for any team.
And that just shows you that's what happens when you're a good leader, number one, and you put the team first, number two. And that's something Mahomes has done his entire career so far.
Yeah.
He has been a great leader. Doesn't throw anyone on the bus. As much as he probably could a couple times, he hasn't.
Yeah.
He continues to help and progress his team.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're seeing. Aaron Rodgers, every offseason, like, well, I don't know if I want to retire. I'm doing the Brett Favre. Man, you're putting the team in limbo. You need to make a concrete answer and stick with it. And that's kind of the issue that we're seeing there for all those years.
I got a strange feeling, and I've said this, I guess it's not so much a feeling, but more of what I've heard prior to even the playoffs. And I told you that I think I even mentioned on the show weeks back that I thought he was going to retire.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, and he has now made comments that, he wants to do other things with this platform. He wants to do other things in life. I think the fact that he is getting married, and he's almost going to that, I just want to be this hippie in the woods type of thing. I just want to live my life and be left alone and smoke a big fat doobie and drink some scotch and be happy type of guy. And if that's what he wants to do with his life, that's fantastic. He may want to host a television show. I mean, he loved doing Jeopardy.
That's
He's
true.
good at he's got a great speaking voice. He's a very intelligent. So why wouldn't you, if you've got an opportunity to do something else, and if you really lost the passion,
Mhm.
which it almost seems like he kind of has to a degree, he's competitive, but you can be competitive and still lose passion for what you're doing at that moment.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, all the Broncos fans saying, "Oh, him and Devontae Adams are coming to the Broncos." And I'm just like, "Oh no," because they signed that offensive coordinator named Nathaniel. I forgot his name, but
Yeah.
Nathaniel, whatever, as the coach for the Broncos. He's their new head coach.
yeah.
So we got all the Broncos fans be like, "Oh, we're gonna get Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams." Like, okay, we'll see. Do you think he's gonna want to be dealing with that 2 times a year, though? If we're being honest.
No.
So I mean, that's just my opinion, but I mean, it is what it is. We'll
It's
see what
very
happens from
difficult
that
for any
standpoint.
quarterback to go into a division and be one of three of the best. Okay. I mean, look, if you look at all
That
the
means someone
divisions,
getting knocked off the list. That means
exactly.
someone's going to take a dividend play or a
Well,
dividend
that's
play
going
overall.
to be Herbert. It ain't going to be Mahomes.
Oh yeah, and
If it actually ever happened, which I doubt it, I don't believe it's going to happen. But if you look at all the divisions, you usually have one star quarterback, and then you have maybe a step under, and then you have the rest. And if, in lack of better words, but you don't normally have three top tier quarterbacks in one division. It just doesn't happen. You very rarely see two.
Yeah.
So I don't see him coming to a division where you have Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in football, the best football team in football right now, and then with the best coaching staff, to also Herbert, which is an up and coming quarterback that, with the right coaching and I think the right personnel, he could be a very good elite style quarterback. I don't see him coming there. I don't see him coming to this division. But, crazier things have happened. I just kind of can't, and I don't think he'd want to play against really one of his better friends in the league twice a year either. I mean,
No.
him and Mahomes have become close, and I just don't see that happening. But, let the Denver fans dream. Let
I
them
mean, they
have
still
their,
got they haven't done nothing since 2015, so
yeah.
they
I
can dream
mean,
all they want.
they can
That's what I've been
dream. Let them
telling them.
dream. Let them
You
have
can
their,
dream, but you haven't done something since 2015, so that
exactly,
rhymes. And
exactly.
you haven't beat the Chiefs in 13 times, so that really rhymes. You can dream because you haven't done nothing since 2015. You haven't beat the Chiefs 13 times in a row, or something like that. That's basically what you're looking at. So I mean, you can enjoy the little small victories. It doesn't matter at the end of the day.
It doesn't. It's just like with the Raiders. They had their, what was, I think that was a week 5 Super Bowl that they won, when they beat us. That one, was that last year? I guess it was, when they did the victory lap.
Yeah, the Raiders. Yeah, week 5 victory lap. Yep.
Week 5 victory. The Bills had their week 5 Super Bowl with us this year.
They going home.
And they went
They
home
on the couch.
They're on the couch, and now you got other teams that are, look. I don't see a team in the left in the playoffs right now that can touch us. AFC, nobody can touch us. That's how I see it right now. We are on fire, bro. And now we got all of our weapons back.
Yeah.
I can't see it. Let me ask you something. And I wanted to get your opinion on this because I've seen this floating around. First of all, let's talk about the Juju situation before I get into the other thing.
Okay.
Juju decided he wanted to come back and play for the Chiefs. That ship sailed.
Yeah, I don't want that to happen.
No, I don't. Now, let me say this. I have made a couple of calls to find out if there's any validity to this as far as the Chiefs side is concerned. They won't rule out anything ever. Let me just put it that way. They will not rule out anything ever. But he would have to come in look, he was already injured this year.
Yeah,
Okay, so
basically out for the entire year.
yeah, so I don't see them making a move or taking a chance on him unless he is absolutely league minimum and with a 14 minimum game clause in his contract if he
Yeah,
wanted to
you have
come
to
here
have
and
that.
play. Yeah. So when that would be almost it'd be a 15 game clause. Well, I guess he could stay at 14, but I don't see that happening. Now, what I wanted to ask you, because I've seen this on Twitter a few times and I've seen it on Facebook, people have actually said, what if the Chiefs decided they wanted to go after Antonio Brown? I know the answer to this, but
You curious what I'm gonna say? Is that what it is?
I just want to know what your thoughts
Okay.
on those comments are.
Okay, so there's my thoughts. I went ahead and I was kind of curious. So I watched the I Am an Athlete podcast. And I don't know if you heard of that, JP.
Yeah,
Have you heard of that? Yeah. So yeah, well, former in those stars. I would also check out the pivot. I mean, they're kind of offshoot. Kind of had issues with Brandon Marshall. I can understand that, but that's neither here or there.
Yeah.
But basically, on that podcast, they had Antonio Brown. And from when I was listening to it, Antonio Brown, from my understanding, he's smart. He understands football. He understands about life. However, he doesn't make the smartest decisions. So, look, if he cheese, great. But the issue is they would have to watch him and get him help because Antonio Brown, the reason why he said he walked off is because AB told me I'm cut. He said, well, I'm not going to be here and be disrespected. We have a lot of players. Like Shannon Sharp says, if a coach will talk to you some crazy way, it's going to be a problem. And instead of Antonio Brown fighting the guy, he was like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm leaving. Also, it was kind of interesting that Antonio Brown brought up this point. He said that, was it the right decision? He said something like this. He's like, was it the right decision? No, but I was hurt. I was irritated. You see people do stuff irritated all the time. So I'm not condoning his behavior, but I understand what he was doing. Now, JP, when it comes to Chiefs are going to sign him, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I really don't know. Because I don't think he's going to be worried about the targets per se, but I could be wrong because not everyone can eat in this offense. We got Hill and Kelsey, 1A, 1B. And then when you have it to the down underscore with everyone else, you can have some sprinkle in players. I mean, Chiefs could add some other players, but I don't really know if he could help. That's just I just don't know what he can add, but possibly besides some more drama. And to me, I don't know what's going to happen if he's going to go through some more troubles in the future. Because he's like, with AB, there's always something.
Yeah.
I mean, something could come all out down the road. But when I'm thinking about the free agent wide receiver market this offseason, because look, JP, the Chiefs need to basically another two option. And they're going to be number three, but they need another option that can help you. And JP, one player I think that could help when you're looking at everything at the end of the day is Allen Robinson.
Love him.
You can sign him to a 1-year deal, a cheap 1-year deal, because he was with the Bears. He didn't really do much. If you can get him to come to Kansas City on a 1-year deal, that is phenomenal, my standpoint. I think it could really, really help. He's not really injury prone.
Yep.
Huh? He's not really injury. Yeah, he's not really injury prone. He's pretty good for the most part. Now, I would take him. Now, Michael Thomas, I think, now to get the for him, but that one's more of a different story because he's had injuries. But I think Allen Robinson is a player they should try to target this offseason if they are able to. Yeah. And if they can bring him in on a 1-year deal, he could be the deep threat we need. Now, however, you got Josh Gordon, as we saw, man. He was just cut and then put on the practice squad. I don't know how he's going to do moving in the offseason, but if we get a group of receivers in here that could really help and learn the system, I'm just saying it could really, really, really help the team. But you're not shaking that mold of Kelsey and Hill. You're not shaking that.
No.
You need to get a second option, though. Either if it's going to be Josh Gordon's going to step up, or they're going to have to go get Allen Robinson. Maybe them both can step up. But then again, you have also players like McCole Hardman and then also Byron Pringle. So, I mean, you can have all these different players. You can just mix and match them. I mean, that's kind of the beauty of it, too.
It's actually funny that you brought up Allen Robinson. And I say that because for the people that listen to this show, I'll say it because I might as well. There was, we we tried to trade, as you know, was that last year or this year?
It was last all because we were like, she should get him.
Yeah. And we tried to make a trade with LDT, a wide receiver, and a pick. Matt Nagy wanted to do it because he wanted D-Rob. He still thinks that D-Rob can be a number 1, number 2 wide receiver. Now, Matt Nagy didn't have the juice to get that pulled off. When I say he didn't have the juice, it wasn't a matter of them not really wanting to release Allen Robinson to anyone else. It was a matter of them not trusting the judgment of Matt Nagy to bring in these players for this player. Now, he's gone. And I've heard a couple of things that made me a little excited. And I think that's why a couple of moves have been made already with the Chiefs. But I believe that is a very viable possibility this offseason with Allen Robinson.
It is.
From what I'm being told.
He could really help the team. You got a deep threat wide receiver that can be your jump ball man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if the money's right, he could come to Kansas City if the money's right.
Yeah. And it's from when I asked about it, I was told that was a very viable option. And then when I hear things from people, they give me their their take on it, and I usually know how to decipher their wording, and that's what I got out of it. So, with that being said, if he ends up here, which it can happen, can you imagine what our team would be like moving forward? I mean, dude, you got Pringle, which is an up-and-coming star. You got McCall Hardman that has proven himself to be a very, very, very good wide receiver. He said he had the worst game of his career in that playoff game, and I think he had a phenomenal game.
No, I think that wasn't a worst game. Well, no, I think that was one of his better games. That wasn't the best. I think the one against Denver was his best game of his career. But I think when it came to the playoff, that was probably his best playoff game, I feel like.
Yeah. I think he underestimated himself to a degree. And I think he may have been frustrated maybe by certain things. But as I watched that game, he played he played with intensity, and he played very intelligently. He took what was given to him, and he made the best of it, whether it be first down runs or, deep, that one deep pass or the long run. He took what he was given, and he did it the right way. I really, I have a lot of respect for that man. I think he's done a great job, and I think he'll just continue to do a really good job moving forward. He's learning, and he's not going to let anybody anymore stomp on him. I mean, they're just going to he's going to play his game to the best of his ability, and he's doing that. So I think he had a great game. I don't know about you, but I think he had a very good game. Everybody
I thought
was
he had
clicking.
a good game, especially his best playoff game.
Yeah. I mean, it really was. It was one of his best playoff games. He played with intensity. He played with heart. Put everything he had into everything that he got, and he didn't bitch when he didn't get it. I just think he did a really good job all the way around. I don't know why he thought he had the worst game of his career. I don't know what I didn't see his stats, and I don't know what his yardage was, but I think he had a great game. You know,
Mhm.
off of that topic a little bit, our offensive line was phenomenal in that game. I don't know if you paid a lot of attention to how well they played, but they really did a good job. Offensive line, defensive line, both did a very good job against an extremely good football team. Um, the one thing that I want to go back to, and Nick Wright kept saying, the number one defense in the NFL throughout the entire season. And how he worded it was, we went into, was it? I think it was Pittsburgh. He said, we put up a 40 burger. We go in and we put up another 40 burger. Then we take the Josh and we put in a 40 burger. He said, it's 140 burger after another. He said, Andy Reid should be feasting right now. And he's right, because we really didn't do anything. I mean, was there some mistakes? A few. But penalty wise, we had 2. If I'm not mistaken, we only had 2 penalties in that game through 4 quarters. I don't know what you saw, but if I remember right, there was 2.
Very minimum.
Yeah, it was very minimal. It was phenomenal to watch this team put together drives against the number one scoring offense, the number one takeaway offense, or defense, I'm sorry. The number one this, the number one that, and we shredded them. We shredded them for 40 plus. And that proves that we're not a joke. We're not this team that can be handled. And look, no matter how you look at it, we didn't lose to any teams this year that, we had one bad game. When I look at everything that we had done, we really only had one bad loss, and that was to the Titans. We scored 3 points.
That was like the worst one we could have had.
Yeah. But as far as the way this team is gelled and the way they're playing right now, I don't know anybody that can stop them. What do you think?
I think they have a really, really good chance of winning this game. I think when it comes down to the end of the day, the Chiefs can win. They're just got to execute, man. I mean, you can't let Jamar Chase off. We can't let T. Higgins go off. You can't let TJ Usmanzada get off. I mean, you have to stop him. You have to make sure you get to Joe Burrow. And they have to get sacks and wrap him up. If they can do that, they can win this game.
Yeah. Joe Burrow gets very rattled when he gets. Now, look, I will give him this. The man took 9 sacks last week and won. Okay? 9 sacks.
You don't see many quarterbacks do that.
No. You just don't see that happen very often. He's was the most sacked quarterback in the NFL this year. And to get to the AFC Championship game being sacked that many times, you got to give him some credit because he did a good job. Now, strength of schedule had a lot to do with their wins, and it was one of the easier schedules in the league. But you still had to give him some credit. Now, let's go back just a little bit. The one thing that I can tell you that showed me a lot, and I watched this game 3 times and once on all 22, was the Raiders-Cincinnati game, the playoff game. He did not look like Joe Burrow of that played us. Okay, he just didn't. The team didn't look like the Bengals that played us. Okay, they look like superstars when they were playing us. They look like one of the best teams in the league. When they played the Raiders, which is another football team that hasn't seen a playoff since, Moby Dick was a minnow, they didn't look like, this team that was so dominant. They barely won that game. it I think it was a 4-point game. If I'm not, it wasn't 28-24, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. Yeah, something small like that.
Yeah.
All they had to do was get a touchdown thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what we're going to see is a version of the Bengals that are going to come out and try really hard and maybe too hard.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to see Pat Mahomes sitting on the bench, kick back while their offense is on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to have that same calm, cool, collected look on his face that he always does. And we're going to shred him. I have a feeling we're going to shred them. Our defense has played out of its shoes, even without Tyron, played very well.
Mm-hmm.
We played a very tough football team in the Bills, and I'm not taking that away from
that
them.
was one of the hardest games I've seen the Chiefs ever fight through in my life. Now, I've seen some difficult games the Chiefs played, but that game, I mean, it was watching like a heavyweight knockout fight. Got punch, blow, punch, blow, punch, blow, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
And finally, Mahomes was able to get the last laugh. I mean, it just shows you how crazy this team is built. Now, however, man, if the Chiefs want to win this game, the defense has to show. We can't see what we saw this last game. They have to get more stops. I felt like they should have been able to get more stops than Allen, but they could not seem to get to the quarterback. I don't know if it's Chris Jones. What's he doing? Frank Clark did his thing, but they have to get to the quarterback. I don't understand why this money tied up in these guys and they're not getting back there as often as they should be.
You know,
You saw with the Bills,
it
they
almost
were
seems
making
like
Mahomes run
speed.
for his life half the time.
It seems like speed to me. It almost like, you know, when I go back and I look at these games, I look at that kind of stuff as well. And I'm looking at the defensive line and how they jump off the ball. One thing I noticed is that Melvin Ingram he's almost got it down to an art where he does have it down to an art where he's instantly off of the ball and he's got that burst. Frank Clark, he has it for the most part. I don't think he has how should I word this? He doesn't have the Derek Thomas effect. Okay. Derek Thomas used to, and I watched him do it when he wasn't on the football field. He would practice arm movements and technique. And the technique of getting around an offensive lineman is more important than strength. You have to have the technique to be able to get by these guys. When you burst off of the line, you also have to have that technique to be able to get away from these guys, whether it's, you know, an arm movement to shove them off or, you know, duck around them, do a spin move, whatever the case may be. Our guys seem to interlock with the offensive line a lot. Instead of trying to get around them, they interlock with them. But also, you have to realize, and I see this all the time, our defensive line is held more than anybody I've seen. They are always held.
It just seems like the pressure, they get pressures, but they're not getting sacks. It's kind of like, you got to do something. I mean, it just makes no sense to me, and maybe that's just me, but it's kind of like Chris Jones. I know it's you gotta get through, but he's trying to sink Frank Clark. Just cut the edge a little bit quicker. You'll get in the backfield. Melvin Ingram, come on. I mean, they're getting close. Now, this game, if they can get these sacks and capitalize on them, get a couple turnovers from them, it's going to be very beneficial. But the offense, on the other hand, needs to make sure they drive down and get those points. Yeah. If they do that, it's going to be beneficial, very beneficial, and the team, they can win.
I look at this offense, and I can't see them not scoring.
Yeah.
I mean, the way they're playing,
they have a good shot of putting up some good number of points this game. Now they have to execute. They can't be dropping balls. The offensive line can't be holding. I mean, they need to be set. They need to make sure they're not getting no illegal man down the fields, but they need to execute on every which way. Yeah. Let Mahomes do his thing. Andy needs to do the play calling, and that game proved it last time. That's why the Chiefs were able to score that many points, because of Andy's play calling. Now, I wasn't a fan of that. Oh, we're going to do the hike to Blake Bell new option route on the weak side of the field where it's like shorter. I mean,
Yeah.
that makes no sense to me. I would have honestly rather see the ball in Mahomes' hand and would have thrown the ball. But I mean, that's neither here or there. So I
Yeah.
don't know if they were trying to put that in to see if that would confuse defenses. But we'll see what happens.
I think they have a few tricks up their sleeve
Yeah.
for Cincinnati and look, we are considered one. You know, a lot of people will consider us a gadget team. Um,
The
because
49ers are a gadget team.
yeah, they are.
Yeah,
So
if we're a gadget team, the 49ers definitely are a gadget team.
damn Skippy. Um, and look, you know what? If gadgets work, if trick plays work, if you know whatever it takes to get into the end zone works, you know it's comical to me that we use this a lot. And this when he was on the show, we talked about how we use the end around so many times that now it seems like it doesn't work as well for us so much, and that's true to a degree. But the one thing that I noticed is that shuffle, that inside shuffle pass that Mahomes does 5 times a year works every time. Every time. It doesn't matter who he does that to, that little short screaming. I mean, I don't know how he throws it that freaking hard with that, the way he throws the ball. You know what I'm talking about? That end zone shuffle pass that he does straight
Mhm.
through the middle.
Yep.
He does it better than anybody I've ever seen. He's very good with his eye control.
Mhm.
That's the one thing that I've been trying to spit out. His eye control is amazing. He is able to throw people off so well with his eyes. And that's something that people don't realize about Kelsey. Kelsey is he is the best route running tight end I have ever seen in my entire life.
Better than Gonzalez?
Yes. Way
All right.
when it comes to route running, God, yes. Gonzalez was fantastic. He would take off down the field. He would knock a few people over to get open. Kelsey makes wide receiver moves, nimble wide receiver moves to get open. His shimmies that he does, the cuts that he makes are more beneficial than most wide receivers in the league.
Yeah.
That's why he is the absolute, hands down, best tight end in football. He will go down, in my opinion, as the best tight end that's probably ever played the game of football. And I'm not saying that because it's him. I'm not saying it because he plays for the Chiefs. I'm saying it because he's that damn good. He is so good at what he does. And when you listen to other ball players talk about him, they all say the same thing. He runs routes like a wide receiver, and most people don't want to tackle him because he's big and he hits pretty hard. And if when he gets that momentum going, God, you don't want to hit that man.
Here comes Kelsey. I mean, that's kind of they don't know what. Yeah, keep plowing through people.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that how this year has gone, and with the frustration at the beginning of the season, the irritation between everything that went on from week 2 to week 6, to think that we still have Tyreek Hill that's had a couple of games in this. Well, he played 15 and a half games in the regular season. He was 1,039 yards. No, was that 1,239 yards?
I think so. Yeah, another 1,000-yard
yards.
Season.
Yeah. And 9 touchdowns in the regular season. Kelsey, over 1,000 yards again. I think he came in 4th in receiving yards, 3rd or 4th in receiving yards this year again. I think he had 10 touchdowns or 11 touchdowns on the season. I'm not 100% sure. But yet we have all these other weapons that were utilized so much. When you really look at it in the grand scheme of things, these are guys that really weren't utilized as much as they were last year, of course, but yet still produced the same amount of numbers One of them had a game and a half less. One of them had a game less. Kelsey missed a game because of COVID. So he had a 16-game season. He played 7 weeks injured.
Yeah, beginning of the season, his wrist.
Yeah. So how can anyone ever sit back and say he's not the best tight end in football? No one can ever legitimately sit back and say that. And it's not just because of Mahomes. He was doing that before Mahomes. He was doing that with Alex Smith. He was a phenom. He's a he's a generational tight end. It's very rare that you find somebody that can do the things that he does and get back up and do it again and throw people off. And he makes defenders look stupid. And tight ends aren't supposed to do that.
Yeah.
They're just not. I mean, he's just not a standard tight end. Tyreek Hill is just as fast as he ever was. I heard somebody say he slowed down some. I don't know what you were looking at, but that man's not slow at all. He's still the fastest player.
Fast. You're fast when you have someone ahead of you. You're already doing the peace sign to them.
Damn,
you're gonna pass them.
Yeah.
You're better than them.
Yeah. I mean, it's Ferrari against the smart car when you're out there on the field with that man.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 7-8 gears, and I don't know, and his gears are crazy. When I watch him stutter step, I'm in awe because I just can't get over the fact that he could come to a stop, take 2 or 3 stutter steps, and within 10 yards, he's already hitting 16, 17 miles an hour.
That's the crazy thing. We see multiple times this year where he's kind of did a route, slow down, then pick up, and then get behind a block and get the first down. You don't see that with many guys. You do not see that.
No. You got guys that can go over the top for a first down. You got guys that can, that'll reach out and get, one hand a first down. But you don't see guys that can take a losing yardage play by all intents and purposes and somehow make a first down out of it. And that's something that he can do. And he does it constantly. Mm-hmm. It's not once in a while. He does it all the time.
Yep.
I don't know, man. He's a scary, scary man.
Yes.
Travis Kelce is a scary, scary man.
I mean, that's why you got 1A, 1B, the drafting department. I mean, did their homework and getting players like McCole Hardman, who's starting to come into his own. He's doing the stuff JP and I knew he was able to do.
Yep.
Not the deep threat. Seeing what Pringle's doing. I mean, that's part of the reason why they decided to put Josh Gordon back in the practice squad, because Pringle has emerged. Now, does he have some drops? Yes. But you don't see many guys do that type of touchdown catch that we saw Pringle did.
Oh, God, no.
You don't see many people do like that. And for Mahomes to have the faith in him and to buy enough time and throw the ball perfect spot, I mean, it was wonderful to see.
It was. It really was. Mahomes is the best quarterback I've ever seen at buying time.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen anyone be able to buy time the way he does on the football field? I mean,
I've never seen that before. It's crazy.
I could go back a long time, and I don't remember ever seeing a quarterback that's able to buy the time that he's able to buy to make sure that someone gets open. And see, this is what we were, for all you guys that were listening to this show at the beginning of the season, when we were talking about Mahomes being stuck in the pocket and not being able to, not being able to see the wide receivers, but then also them not being able to see him, more importantly. That is what I'm talking about. When he was trapped in that pocket and getting killed back there, that limited what the wide receivers were always able to do with him. When he's out of the pocket, and if you go back and you watch these last 7 games, when he's out of the pocket and he's buying time, if I watch his hand movements, I watch his eye movements, I watch what his head does. With almost every part of it, I mean, if you could use it, he'd do it. He would point someone in the right direction But think about it like this. If the guy was running around naked, he could probably use that to somehow get somebody open because he uses every other part of his. And what I'm trying to get at is this. They see his hand movements, his little finger nudge, his little head nod, his eye movements, and they know which direction to go to find an opening when he's buying those times, that time to get that opening, to make that cross the body throw. You see what I'm getting at? If he had no shoes on, he could use a toe to do
that's
it.
just
Saying it's what I'm getting at is that that's what he was missing at the beginning of the season. And that's what the wide receivers were missing. When he's out and he's able to buy that time, he's able to use his body motions and his hands and his eyes and his head and every other part of his body to point them in a direction to go to get open. And that's what he does. When I watch this all 22 film, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, okay, I just watched him use his head, nodded one direction, and that's exactly where that wide receiver, Travis Kelce, Pringle, whoever it was, that's the direction they went. I saw his eyes move one direction, and they went from one side of the field to the other side of the field, and he threw across his body directly to the point that he looked at. He used one finger. In one game, I watched it. He had the ball in his hand. He's ready to throw. And when I wish you guys could see me right now, but as he has the ball in his hand, he takes his one finger and he does that with the ball in his hand. He just enough to where they can see go that direction because they can't always see the open spot on the field that he can. Do you understand what I'm getting at? Because he can see.
I understand.
Yeah. So it's weird that he could use, and I know that was a weird analogy, is more for comical reasons than anything, but he could use any part of his body when he's out there to point these guys in a direction to catch the ball or to get into a position to be open simply because of the fact that they can see him and he can also see the entire field and see where that open spot is. When he was stuck in the pocket, he wasn't able to do those things. That's all I'm trying to say. He was just phenomenal. He's phenomenal at doing those things. As you've noticed, things have changed with the way he's played and the way these guys have gotten open. And when those drop passes happened, when he was stuck in the pocket and he's throwing those balls, and sometimes Tyreek couldn't see that he was going his direction, even though, because sometimes, look, just because there's an assignment or a play call doesn't mean that play call is going to go that way. Somebody may be covered up. If he's stuck in the pocket, he can't roll out. He's not buying enough time. That wide receiver can't see the entire field. He doesn't know which direction to go, but Mahomes can see it because he's staring down that entire field. So he can see those open spots, and he will direct those guys which way to go with any part of his body he can. And I've watched him do it so many times when I slow film down, and I'm thinking, God, that's amazing. I mean, these guys are so in tune with him that they can see him do this from 35 yards away. It's a phenomenal thing that someone is able to do. That's all I'm getting at. And the wide receivers lost that ability the first 5 weeks of the season because he was trapped. So when you lose that ability and you're not used to playing in the same way you did the past 4 years, now you're trying to rely on hoping and praying you're an open target, hoping and praying that he doesn't get pressured enough and he stays in the pocket and gets collapsed on. That's the point I'm trying to make. If that makes any sense. I hope it does.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So he's doing hand gestures and things like that.
Yeah. He just does a lot of things that people don't see, I guess I should say. Hand gestures, body movements, it doesn't matter. He does. It's not just hands. It's his head, it's his eyes, it's his feet. I mean, he does a lot of things that people don't see him do. And I think it's just amazing that he's able to do those things, and people and the wide receivers have gotten so in tune with it. Is what I'm any part of his body and make these guys go the direction he needs them to be in. But anyway, what is your opinion? Score prediction of this game?
I think the Chiefs will end up winning this game. I'm gonna say 31-22. I can see them getting about a 9-point spread. I think Bengals are gonna score. That's kind of what I'm seeing here in this aspect.
Well, yeah, that's a good. I mean, they're a scoring team, and I think it's a damn good prediction, really. I think if you look at the revenge side of it, I want to say 42-10. You know,
I mean, it's very possible. It is very possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see that, but I don't know if that's possible. But me, man. Every time I want to see them blow somebody out every single time. I want to see that blowout every time. Especially,
and they very well could do that this time around.
Yeah, I mean they could. You just don't know. I see him putting up at least 38 points. If they could put up 42 on the number one defense in the NFL, I can easily see them putting up 38 points in this game. Especially to a team that is not used to being in the playoffs and going off of, one, going off of revenge and wanting to prove something. And then also, two, the fact that they're so raw when it comes to being in the playoffs. Cincinnati, I mean, I think that they could easily go out there and put up 38, 40 points. I could see that happening. They shredded a defense last week that shouldn't have been shredded. When you really look at it, I mean, it just is what it is. They put up a lot of points on the number one defense in the league. And do you know where the Bengals are ranked right now?
They did. I mean, because that defense, probably middle of the pack.
You think they're middle of the pack?
Probably low middle, pushing for like 18 to 20, probably.
I want to look just to see. Because I'd like to know where they're at. It says, going by NFL power rankings, they're 17 and a half. So you're about right, about middle of the pack.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna carve up the number one defense in the league like that, I don't know, man. It's gonna be one of those games that you just look at and go, man, this could be one of those blowout games where they just come out and, with all the hype and the fact that they've been there.
It is very possible that the Chiefs can have you and.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. I mean, it could be, and it could go either way. I mean, it could go that it could be a low scoring game and the defenses come out and I don't know, man. It's such. I just feel like with our experience in the playoffs and the momentum that we've got going into this game, and then the whole revenge thing, I think it's going to be a game that just may end up being a lot more than what Cincy is expecting out of us. I guess I'll put it that way. But, you just never know. You talk to Philip.
Agree.
Philip said 42-20, I think. So, but it's Philip. Philip loves to put, and he's always right.
Philip was always around.
Huh?
He's Philip Nelson.
He does, man.
Does a pretty good job of predicting.
He does. He does a great job of doing that. I mean, he hits it almost every time. It seems like he's like on top of things. He's got this weird intuition that it seems like he nails it most of the time.
He takes a lot of stuff to an account.
He studies a lot.
The stuff together.
Yeah, he studies a lot. He spends a lot of time really puts his mind to it and he focuses deeply into it. And I think that's pretty awesome. But there was something else that I wanted to bring up, and I wanted your opinion on it, and I lost it there for a minute. It'll come to me in a minute. I can't remember exactly what it was now. But there was something that I had in my head that I wanted. Oh, San Francisco. Just out of curiosity, what do you think their chances are of actually beating the Rams in a playoff situation?
That game is a coin flip. The Rams can't. I mean, the 49ers can win. It's literally
so?
a flip in my. It depends on who is on the day, which team is on. I think the 49ers could pull off the upset.
Think so, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I have a weird feeling you're right. And it's not because of Jimmy G. I think it's the rest of their team. Their team is.
Yeah, they got their depth, their position.
Yeah. Jimmy's not the greatest quarterback right now, and he's had his ups and downs all year long, but it could be an upset. And look, if you look at their record, it seems like San Francisco has had their number for a while. They really kind of, for some reason, they always beat the Rams. I don't know what it is, but they always seem to beat them. I don't know how well they're going to do in the playoffs against them. The Rams have a great receiving core. And, by the way, somebody brought up the other day, they were asking, who would you rather have other than Mahomes? If you picked anybody else besides Mahomes in a clutch situation or a 2-minute situation, who else would you rather have in the NFL as your quarterback? And they said Matt Stafford.
He proved himself. He can move the ball down the field.
He's done I guess apparently, I didn't watch a lot of his games because of course it was where he was at, but he seems to have a lot of 2-minute drills behind his belt. A lot of notches on his belt with these 2-minute drives, these 2-minute, winning drives, and being able to move down the field fairly quickly. So if you had to predict today, who would we, if we went to the Super Bowl, who would we be playing? Who would you pick?
If the Chiefs win, I would probably say the 49ers.
Think the 49ers again?
We'll get a rematch of the first Super Bowl Mahomes was in.
That'd be kind of cool, huh? See that happen.
It'd be a good game. It'd be a really great game.
Yeah,
I feel like their offense has gone better, so we can kind of cancel each other out. But our offense is a lot better than what it was too.
That is true. I don't know. It seems like he's kind of declined a little bit as far as a quarterback is concerned. But it just like the rest of their team, their special teams is phenomenal. But it just seems like the rest of their team, I don't know what it is, but they have a knack for beating people. And it doesn't necessarily have to be him. What do he threw for like very minimal yards in that win last week. Very minimal yards. He didn't have I don't even think he threw for 200 yards, did he?
Yeah, he didn't throw for 200. He threw over 100.
What's that?
He didn't throw that much.
I didn't think so. I didn't think he did. I thought it was really minimal. I don't know, but I just wanted to know your opinion on that. If you thought if you had a pick of your quarterback other than Mahomes for a 2-minute drill down the field, who would you want? Who would you want other than Mahomes? Just put it that way.
All time or just this playoff round?
Just in general. Just right now, the quarterbacks that we have in the league today.
Well, it would be Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Yeah.
He could move the ball, felt like it, but that's kind of what we're looking at here.
So. It almost seemed like he didn't want to play, huh? In that game. He
did not want to.
Yeah, it just seemed like he didn't want to play in the game. I don't know. It's like he didn't want to be there, which is very, I don't know. You'd think with his competitiveness and gotten as far as he did during the season, he would have wanted to get to that point. Oh, let's talk about the coaching situation real quick. Denver filled a spot. Chicago filled a spot today. They both have new head coaches. Who's left right now as far as needing a head coach?
Giants are one.
Who?
The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Jaguars. Those are only two things that come to my mind right now.
Who's that? I'm sorry, I lost one of them.
The Giants, the Jaguars,
Okay.
Texans.
I wonder, what do you think if you had your pick right now of those teams that are left? Who do you think EB would be number one a good fit for, or have an opportunity to go to?
Out of the Jaguars, but I don't know if he's gonna get hired. I don't see it happening this time around, unfortunately. It could. I thought it was gonna be the hire, but I mean, sorry, they interviewed him, but then they went. So I'm not really for sure where he could go.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, it's kind of all over the place.
It just seems like he's just missing on these things. You know, I mean,
So that's.
I didn't think he was gonna get a real opportunity somewhere, because you still have. I think there's four coaches from the Bucks that were up for head coaching position or interviewed for head coaching positions as well, or wanted to be interviewed. I don't know if they've all done it yet or not, but and then Todd Bowles, he got, it's going to be difficult, I think, for him. In my opinion, I think it's after the way this year's gone. Well, the beginning of the year, I think it might be difficult for him to find a position.
I agree with you there. I think it's gonna be interesting to see where he goes.
Yeah. Do you think if he doesn't get a head coaching job, what's your opinion? Do you think he will stay here? Or do you think he's just done?
I think he's. I don't even know. It kind of depends on what happens at the end of the season. It'll be. I don't know. Maybe his time is run with Kansas City. From what it's seen, Andy's calling the play call, so that's probably not going to happen with him again unless Andy gives it to someone he trusts. It just kind of depends what you look at. There's many different things that can happen for the most part. I think there's a chance he could leave. I think Andy still might have him stay. So I mean, there's many different things that are happening from that standpoint.
Yeah. I would have a hard time thinking that he would stay. Especially after everything that we've heard and know that went on. And given the fact that Kafka is really ready for that position, I have a feeling that might be the move that gets made. I've heard that numerous times that, Kafka's the guy. So, and I don't know if Andy would want to upset him to a point, Kafka, I'm saying, by keeping EB another year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as you're just saying. He's been here for a long time.
Yeah. So how long has he? It's been 4 years as a coordinator, and how long has he?
He was the running backs coach, and then once, what's his name? Once Matt Nagy got hired in Chicago, he got promoted from running backs coach to offensive coordinator.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe his time's just run out here.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we've seen it happen before. It wouldn't surprise me, but it sucks. But I mean, it's kind of like, what can you do though? At the end of the day,
I mean, you're in a position that you got a guy that's ready, everybody loves, and understands everything Andy wants, and doesn't have an ego, versus a guy that has been here for a long time. Yes, he's had some success, but this year kind of hurt him. So the beginning of the year, let me just put it that way. So I don't know what's going to happen on that front, man. I mean, I know Andy was really pushing for him to get a head coaching job. I know at one point he was tied to the Oregon position, but they filled that. I don't know, man. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens after the Super Bowl or after
Yeah.
the season ends.
Mhm.
It's going to be interesting because, I think his contract ends March 13th, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. To me, I don't think he should be here next year. I think it's time to move forward and move on. I know Andy's been really lobbying for him to get a job. I don't want any ill will to go to the guy, but again, it's going to be one of those things that we just have to see what happens moving down the stretch. But I know that there's a lot of people that feel that he needs to go.
Yeah. I mean, this kind of has been a struggling year with him at the helm for some reason. It's difficult to see, but you got to do what's been in the best interest of the team sometime. That's probably what we're going to end up seeing.
True. I mean, it's kind of one of those things that you just have to, look forward to what you got coming next and what's going to benefit the team the most. And to me, honestly, I think Kafka would do a great job in that position. And everybody loves him. The team absolutely loves him. So he gets along with everybody, offensively. I mean, I'm sure he gets along with defensive side too, but offensively, he gets along with everyone. So it's going to be an interesting offseason, to say the least. But we have a giveaway to do real quick.
Yeah, we do. The winner of this giveaway is David David Miner Shagan. His Twitter is at Miner Shagans. Looking from his profile, he entered the giveaway. He did everything we wanted to. Guys, I think he's from Webb City, Missouri, so deep down southern Missouri, kind of near Jess City area. So David Miner Shagan. So you have won the giveaway, man. Thank you for entering.
Oh,
You
man,
win
that's awesome.
the Dwayne Bowe signed jersey.
Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, oh man. That's awesome. Congratulations. You got the jersey if anybody knows anything about that man, he was one of the best wide receivers we had for a while. So you got a great jersey there. Signed by one of the best.
That is true.
So it's awesome. Do we want to now? Let's do this. I thought about this earlier and I didn't have a chance to talk to you, but do we want to do a special type of giveaway as a precursor to the Super Bowl? So say
choose go to Super Bowl, we need to do a 2-week giveaway.
2-week giveaway?
Yeah, something big if the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl. We'll do a 2-week giveaway for something awesome. And maybe we'll do a middle of we've got some things that we could give away if we wanted to, and they would have to, they're not the 40,000 follower giveaway stuff, but they're still awesome to have if we wanted to do one between now and the Cincinnati game, or we can do it the week of or the morning of the game. However you want to do it, Caleb, it's up to you, brother. But we got some stuff that we can still give away, and we can do that as well. We had a couple of questions. Somebody asked me a couple of questions, and they asked me if I could say them on the show really quick. So let me get to them. Well, I think we covered this one. Is Andy Reid out? I mean,
Andy Reid's not going nowhere.
Not Andy Reid. I'm sorry, Eric Bieniemy. Is he out after the?
I mean, it's a coin flip at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm hoping that, it moves forward and they are able to continue with what they planned on doing. I think it's a good thing for Kafka, all the way around. Another question from Chiefs PM fan. Andy Reid says Tyrann Mathieu remains in the concussion protocol, but says he feels good. What do they do in the protocol? So really, it's mainly just
That's you. I mean, I don't know anything what they do in the protocol. I guess put some tests, but I don't know how far the tests go.
Yeah, it's just mainly just monitoring, and they make sure there's no swelling. If there is swelling, which there is with the concussion, of course, but the swelling goes down to back to normal, or it's gone. There's no cognitive issues or lingering headaches. They monitor them very well. And then, at the end of their protocol time frame, they test them again. If everything looks good, they're free to go. So it's it looks like, like we had talked about last week when we found out that it was a concussion. They said he was going to be ready for this week. So it looks like he will be. He's been out practicing, and everybody said he looked really good. So we got Tyrann back. Fenton, what do you think about Fenton's role this week, man?
I think Fenton has to contest and cover the side in the absence. They need to let Hughes sit. Hughes has not been good. I think this is last. He's in the offseason. I don't see them doing it. I mean, he sent a 7 from. I think it was good enough, but he hasn't made it as consistent.
No, he hasn't been. He's he's been okay at punt return. I was going to ask you something. What do you think how do you think he would play as a wide receiver? I mean, just talking, just thinking out loud. How do you think he would do as a wide receiver? Do you think he has the speed and the hands, or do you think not?
Yeah, speed, the hands. I'm not really for sure. It would just come to me. We already have enough fast. Are you saying in general or just on the Chiefs?
Just in general, or even if it was on the Chiefs. I mean, how do you think he would do? Do you think he has the football?
I mean, well, he would have to do a receiver Harmon role.
Yeah. I thought about that the other day, and when you're sitting there and you're sick as a dog and you can't really think straight, you think about weird things. And I was thinking about him, and I thought, I wonder how he would do as a wide receiver. And I wanted to ask you on the show what you thought, because he hasn't done very well, in the corner position, and he's done okay as a returner. I don't know what his average has been, but it hasn't been, phenomenal.
It's not terrible.
Not terrible, but it's middle of the road, I guess.
Like average.
Yeah.
That's my guess. Looked into it.
Yeah. But I just thought, maybe that's a question that you can ask and go, hey, I wonder what he would do as a wide receiver. There's so many converted players in the league, that have went from offense to defense, from running back to wide receiver, or vice versa, quarterback to running back, tight end to, quarterback to tight end. I just wonder what your thoughts would be on him being, in a wide receiver role, to see how he would work out. I wonder if anybody's ever tried it. I mean, given the fact that he wasn't very good prior to coming to us.
Sanders played on receiver.
Yeah. So I just
he's a cornerback.
Yep. Yeah, I just didn't know what your thoughts were on that. I've been thinking about the players that we have and who would be a potential loss next year, or somebody that wouldn't be here. He was definitely on the top of the list of somebody that wouldn't be here. One of the other questions I had for you is Deandre Baker. What do you think is going to happen with him next year with us, with our team?
I think he's still for another year or two. Keep just for depth purposes. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that whatever issues they had are squashed and they can just move forward from that. It seems like he's been kind of in the doghouse all year long. And we talked about the reasons why earlier in the season, but It just doesn't seem like he's gotten the opportunities unless somebody was injured.
That's the truth.
So it's tough to see him not, because I know he's good at what he does. You know he's good at what he does. You've talked about him numerous times about how great he is, and you're one of the best at finding these. You're like a mini Brett Veach when it comes to the draft. So you find these players out of nowhere that
I found the players.
you do. You find them, and you're the bomb at that. That's for sure. And you did.
Appreciate it.
You had a lot of hopes for him, and so did I, for that matter. But it just seems like he hasn't gotten a fair shake. As far as
No,
his
I would
playing
agree.
time. So, I don't know, man. It just you look at some. Is there any player that you look at right now that's been on the 53 that you can't see here next year, other than maybe Dan Sorensen and the couple that we've
Hitchens.
mentioned? Oh yeah, Hitchens.
Let me think. I won't be here next year. It's kind of hard because we have a really. I think Sorensen, like you said, Hitchens is another one. Hughes, you already said him. Man, this is a tough one.
No, that's why I asked you, because I figured
For sure. I can't. Let me think. Vince. Probably DeMarcus Robinson is the one guy. That's kind of. I don't think we talked about him.
Yeah. It sucks, but I've always had a soft spot for that dude, and I think it's just because one, he's a very likable guy, but two, he's been clutch in certain situations that a lot of guys, he's made catches that a lot of guys couldn't make. I'll put it that way. So I've always had kind of a soft spot for him, but I agree with you. I think he's done. Somebody brought this up to me, and they said they thought Ward wasn't going to be here next year, that we were going to replace him with.
Yeah, I don't know what people are talking there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where they would come up with that, but the dude has been so consistent. I don't understand what they haven't seen in this man. He has been so consistent all year long with the one game that everybody is hanging him on is that Cincinnati game. And you cannot judge him on that Cincinnati game.
For that one game.
Yeah, you can't.
Everybody got burnt that day.
Well, not only that, there were so many other variables that went into how that game came out and played out that you just can't judge him on, number one, going up against one of the best wide receivers in the league by himself on an island, and then factor in what we already know about the referees. He had no help over the top. How can you honestly sit back and judge a man that has been, up until that game, he had only allowed 2 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken, all year long? So maybe 3. But even at that, I mean, to be a CB in this league is tough enough. And then you go, how many games and you only allow 2-3 touchdowns? That's pretty phenomenal. Yeah. It's I couldn't believe they brought that up, and I've seen that more than once. That people thought that he was gone, and they were, I don't know why, I don't remember who they thought was going to take his place. I guess that was the biggest thing, is that there was somebody that they had thought was going to take his place. And I don't know if it was Josh Jackson or if it was, I don't know, but it was just somebody that I wanted to bring up and wanted your opinion on that, because I thought, man, why are people,
appreciate it.
Yeah, why are people saying this when he's not done anything wrong? I mean, there's a lot of teams out there that have cornerbacks that are not even half as good as him. I mean, when you really look at it.
That is true.
So if I had to pick players that are going to be gone next year, definitely Sorensen. I agree with you on D-Rob. I think he's done. I think, well, I know Hitchens is gone next year.
Mhm.
I'm wondering about Neiman.
This is going to keep him.
Huh?
Spags is going to keep him, unfortunately. I mean,
Yeah.
he's played better as of late, but Spags is probably going to keep him in there.
More than likely. It seems like he plays a lot better, and like we've talked about before, everybody always plays better when Thornhill's in the game in the secondary part, of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe he will be kept. It was just somebody that, popped into my head, and I was just kind of wondering if they thought that maybe he would be that guy that would be maybe one of the guys that they would release. The only other question I had for you, because you are the draft guru, and the undrafted free agent guru, out of all the guys that we picked up for futures, how many of them do you think are going to stick?
Probably only two. Omar Bayless, and there's the defensive lineman. I forgot his name. Very high hopes. I think those are the two guys stick. And if anything, they'll end up on the practice squad. Omar might be a roster. If anything, they'll end up on the practice squad and could possibly get elevated.
Okay. And do you think we're going to see anything out of that was another question I had. I put them all on my phone for you. His name slipped my mind. The wide receiver that we ended up putting on the practice squad out of the draft. Cornell Powell.
Oh, Cornell Powell. I don't know. I don't know. Honest. I expect him to play this year. I mean, I don't even know how deep our wide receiver room is. He's gonna have to make some dramatic make the
Yeah.
and grasp the playbook. Because if you can't grasp the playbook, then you're not getting on the field. We've seen that with Andy so many times.
Yeah, I agree with you. Oh, Damon Arnett. What do you think of that?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think
Oh,
of
he's
that
gonna
signing?
if he's as good as everyone's saying is, he's gonna replace Hughes.
Yeah.
Probably. He's gonna replace Hughes.
Yeah, they thought that was the person there. Thank you. You finally did it. I still got a little bit of COVID brain. That was what this person had said to me, was that Arnett was going to replace Ward. That's what they assumed when they brought in.
Yeah, they don't know. He's gonna replace Hughes if anything. They're not getting rid of Ward.
No.
Ward's not going there. For all the people who can't run, saying Matthew's not going anywhere. He's not a bad player. If everyone's complaining about those things there, he's not going anywhere. If anyone's going to be gone in secondary, it's probably going to be Hughes. He's been the most inconsistent of the quarterbacks this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. Speaking of Matthew, he put out a tweet, and I'm not sure exactly what it said, but there was a lot of people that commented on it, and I thought it was kind of a weird way of commenting on things. But he put out a tweet that said, I'm looking it up really quick for you guys. It said, I was just saying, whoever is upset with me, it won't matter because it's championship season. It's time to celebrate and enjoy all it's time, or enjoy all. It's time to win it all. Some of the comments were kind of, and I guess it started from Flippin' Chiefs put out a tweet that said, I'm pretty much giving up on the idea of Matthew Era being back, and I'm so sad about it. And someone said Chiefs fans that don't want Tyrann Mathieu to stay are crazy. He's still playing at an amazing level. This isn't Madden where
Yeah,
players
he is.
regress. And he's right. And then Tyrann put out, they'll be happy sooner than later. That was the tweet that he replied back to them saying they'll be happy sooner than later. So another person put 99% of his fawn over him. We just won 25K for his charity. All the focuses are on those who don't like him. But I think the writing is on the wall when the Chiefs didn't extend him earlier this year. Hopefully he balls out in the next 2 games and gets another contract. Tyrann just all he put back was what I said. I was just saying whoever is upset with me, it won't matter because it's championship season. It's time to celebrate and enjoy it all. It's time to win it all. What are you? Do you decipher anything from that?
People just reading into stuff because they're bored. From the way I saw it, the way I see it is that Matthew is talking about when you win in cures all. So all the people were saying, "Oh, he's toxic because he said we're a toxic fan base."
Yeah.
And people want to call him out of his name, and you know who you are, saying he's soft and using other words that I'm not going to repeat on this show.
Yeah.
Saying he's very soft and he can't tackle and he's not worth it. And L'Jarius needs to replace his spot. You know who you are. You don't know football if you're saying things like that. Yeah, can L'Jarius Sneed play safety, but L'Jarius Sneed's a great cornerback when it comes to that slot position. So I don't see him going anywhere. I think he's just talking more for the fact that winning cures all. I don't see him going anywhere. His roots are already here. For all the people who don't understand, John Matthew grew up in Louisiana. He's not gonna let no people talk to him any type of way, and I think people need to realize that and get off their high horses and feel offended. Because when it comes to the end of the day, NFL players have worked harder than some of the other people we see that criticizing them. And when you look at that, those people can't even can probably run a 10-second 40.
Yeah,
That just shows how slow they are.
You're 100%. I mean, it's become, people say things because they're angry. People say things because whatever the case may be. He has every right to say whatever he wants, just like everybody on Twitter.
And he's not cussing no one out. That's
no.
He acting a crazy person. He's just being honest. Like, look, yeah, should he have said that? No, but all these other players, Tom Brady has said silly, dumb things before. I mean, I think it's just kind of funny we have people who want to hold these players like Tyrann to higher standard when they're not. Yeah, they want to hold them to a higher standard, which makes no sense because they're human too.
Yeah.
He didn't go out and break no laws. All he said the fan base was toxic. Now, did he recant his statement? Yeah, because he said he was irritated. And people are coming after him. I mean, players aren't, especially where some places where players grew up, they're just not going to take stuff. They're going to fire back. And people just need to realize that.
Yeah.
Now, these are the same people who, when they would see him, be like, "Oh, you're a great player." I mean, this is the same people. So that's kind of what we're looking at here.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's amazing to me how many people can sit there and slam this man for speaking his mind, but yet they will go after somebody on Twitter for saying that they were wrong about an analogy, or they want to get into a fight with somebody over tennis shoes or whatever the stupidity is that they fight over. But yet he's legitimately upset, and he really didn't say what he said was it's becoming. It isn't the most toxic. He said it's becoming. And at that point, hey, look, man, you and I both talked about it. How toxic was it there for a while?
It was pretty bad.
I mean, we were like the
people were saying some stupid stuff. When you say Andy should be fired, Mahomes needs to go somewhere else, that people just don't know what they're talking about.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, you got to get in the mindset that these people are human, and some people will snap back. There's guys that are just going to sit and take it. It's similar to this whole Brittany Matthews situation with the champagne thing. Okay. You got Chiefs fans out there that are saying ignorant things about that. I saw it on Facebook. Some guy crying, saying, well, what if my kid was in there? It was cold. And what if he got wet? Well, your kid shouldn't have been at the game because it was cold. Anyway, I mean, you're sitting in a football stadium. Look, if you're going to
people when I'm at the games jump up and down, their beer splatter everywhere.
That's my point.
It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy. I mean, I wouldn't have done that personally, but I mean, from what I was told from the people who were at the game, they said it turned into basically a big party.
Yeah.
People were just acting crazy out there,
Yeah.
doing silly things.
It was insane. Here's the thing. Look, should she have poured champagne on people? Probably not. But did she drown anyone? No. Did she get somebody drunk? No. Did she put out anyone's eye? No. There was a thing that's been going around here for the last couple of weeks about how the Chiefs, it's been all over Facebook too, as far as the Chiefs fans are concerned, that the Chiefs likability has gone down so much because of Brittany and Jackson. Okay, look.
I don't know how two people outside the organization can taint the organization. I mean, that makes no sense to me.
Thank you.
More concerned with the 53 and then the practice squad and the GM and the front office and the owner, what they're doing. I'm not really concerned about all the other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, she's a vocal person. Look, is there things she shouldn't do? Of course. Are there things that, she could bag back on? Of course. Jackson, is there things that he should do and not do? Definitely yes. But they don't play for the team. They're different in the way that they may handle themselves. And if you don't like it, don't watch it. That's the point. I mean, I don't agree with certain things that they do. You don't agree with it. But is it making me dislike our football team? No. Would it make me dislike another football team if, say, Russell Wilson's wife's, okay, there's a great example. Sierra was on, I think it was a music award or something, and she was dancing. I mean, she's in her 40s, and she was dancing and dressed like she was 21. Okay, what? Look, if I'm in my 40s and I look like her as a woman and I can move like she can still move, I'd put it out there. I'd still do it. I don't think Russell Wilson was embarrassed because she was out there dancing and singing and doing the things that she's always been able to do just because she's a mom. And that's what people keep bringing up is, oh, well, Brittany's a mom now. Yes, she's a mom. She's a 26-year-old mother. Is she a little immature? Yeah, in some ways she is. But that shouldn't have any bearing on what people think of our football team. They're saying it's a slight on the city. That's how they're wording it.
And then I just pay attention to the team. I'm not really worried about the outside distractions because they're not the ones on the field. I mean, I don't know why people just find something to hate something about the Chiefs, and that's just kind of what. I mean, Barstool will want them in complain about them, but then sell Grim Reaper shirts on their website. Chiefsaholic put that out there, so it just shows you people are just doing it to get fan bases in for clicks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
they're just trying to reach out to many different groups. That's kind of what we're seeing here.
Well, that kid was like 11 years old. The one that put that. I got my legal team looking into it. What legal team do you got? A bunch of sixth graders that just read a book on. I mean, come on, man. That kid was a little tiny, chunky little dude that honestly was sitting in a.
It must be a troll.
He says he's a graphic designer for Barstool Sports.
At 13?
Did you see his picture?
I haven't seen, but I'm guessing it has to be someone as a troll. Like we had that Mo guy a couple years ago who was that Patriots dude.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that guy.
So I feel like this person's probably a troll, if anything.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, if he's using Barstool Sports and he has that and he's got their in his bio,
he's a troll.
Wow. They better do something about it then.
They're not going to because they got free clicks off of it, basically.
Yeah, maybe so. He got blasted, that was for sure. But you're having your legal team look into it. And the worst part that he said was, well, in the state of Kansas, okay, we're in Missouri.
We're in Kansas City, Missouri, not
Yeah.
Kansas City, Kansas. I mean,
Exactly. Come
people
on.
don't understand geography. That's another thing. If you're a fan outside, you need to understand geography before you comment. Kansas City, Missouri is different from Kansas City, Kansas.
Yeah.
Basically,
mean-
you can drive to this. Basically, like the cities kind of connect in a way. I mean, that's
way
how
it
it is.
is.
People live in Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas go back and forth all the time.
And you know,
So,
it's Caleb, you know how many times when people ask me where you from and I say Kansas City? Oh, Kansas, huh?
I mean, I can
Almost
understand
every
why,
time.
but it's kind of like, guys, they said it enough to this point in our lifetime that it's Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah.
People will say Kansas City, Kansas to be more specific, but the people will say Kansas City.
Yeah.
Missouri.
I was just, I was like, wow, this is really stretching it when you're going that far. And then ended up being on TMZ, you know, about her pouring the champagne out. You know, big deal. I mean, you know, should she have not done it? Maybe not. But she didn't hurt anybody. She didn't do anything wrong. So, I mean, as far as like, she didn't injure anyone. So, God, let it go. But I don't know, man. You gave your score prediction. Did I give mine?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I don't think we got much left.
I think we're good to go for the night.
Yeah. So, yell out that winner one more time. So,
the winner of the giveaway is David Minor Shagan. His is at Minor Shagan, Minor Shagan. So David from, I think, is Webb City. From looking at your bio, Webb City, Missouri. You are the winner of the signed Dwayne Bowe jersey. That'll make a great gift for anything, or just another place to add in your man cave, man. So
there you go.
Congratulations.
Awesome, man. All right, brother. Well, I think we had a pretty productive show, and I don't think I've got anything left. I had a bunch of stuff in mind that I wanted to bring up and ask you about, because I know you've been busy all week, and but I think we covered most of it. And looks like we got a full roster coming into this game. Arrowhead, get loud, get very loud, make it so loud that Joe Burrow really understands the difference between college and Arrowhead Stadium.
Exactly.
And let's just go out with a bang and get in that Super Bowl. Dude, just imagine 4 straight AFC championship games and 3 straight Super Bowls if we make it. 3 straight Super Bowls appearances.
Pretty good.
That's really strong, man. That's I don't know. That's kind of like history breaking to a degree.
It is history breaking. Never seen other teams do it before.
Nope. I mean, there's only been a few teams that have went, you know, multiple years in a row. Dallas was one of them. I think Pittsburgh Steelers did it in the 70s. But to go and even win 2 out of the 3 is a phenomenal thing to do. So, and by the way, for everybody out there that wondered, Tom Brady has never been to 4 straight AFC championship games. No one else ever has. No one. So that is something to really be proud of and hang your hat on, and don't take it as a, how did we used to say it, Caleb, when they, don't get greedy. Be proud of what you got right now, because at one point
it'll be gone.
And then you're going to be really pissed off when it is. So let's all just be happy with what we got right now. Ride the wave, because that wave's going to last as long as Mahomes is around, and as long as Veach is around, and as long as Andy's around. So we can ride this wave for the next 10 years, and you just don't know when it'll end. I mean, I don't think there's ever going to be a 20-year deal like the Patriots were. But you never know. I mean, if Mahomes decides to play until he's 40 years old, you got it. Okay? Because we're already 5 years into his career. Really, I mean, 4 years of him starting, but 5 years into his career. So if we get another, 4 Super Bowls, 5 Super Bowls out of him and this team, look at what we've accomplished, man.
You're in a really, really great spot.
Yeah, it is. So everybody, make sure you follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. website, chiefsfocus.com. Charles has been putting out some phenomenal articles. So is Jared. So is Jake. Just keep following everything. And Kayla's been putting out some awesome tweets. Keep an eye out on everything. And remember, these guys are they're working their butts off for you. So just give them some love. Give everybody some love out there while you got the chance with Chiefs Focus. We appreciate everybody, and we will talk to you. Oh, when do you want to schedule the spaces for everybody? Because I
Probably
know
do one Saturday night,
okay,
but if not Saturday night, we'll most likely do one Sunday before the game.
perfect. What time is the game for everybody so they know?
2 CT, so 2 Central Standard Time, so that's 3 East Coast, 1 Mountain Time, 12 for you in Vegas territory, and then for the West Coast, for West Coast, I think that's still 2. 12
Yeah,
for you guys.
yeah, because West is Pacific. So
Yeah, Pacific Time is 12.
yeah, wow, 12 o'clock.
Mhm.
That's gonna be awesome. Early game.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So well, everybody enjoy Red Friday and get your game face on. If you're going to the game, pump it up, get it loud, and let's come out with a victory and go to another Super Bowl. With that being said, I got nothing else. And if you got nothing else, we can wrap this one up.
Everything we're all good to go for tonight, man.
All right, brother. Well, we will talk to you guys this weekend. Have a great Red Friday. Peace
See you
out,
next time,
everybody.
Chiefs Kingdom.